Welcome to Tsuji This Week. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. Coming up, students in Malaysia learn about humanistic healthcare at TIMA 3rd Hospital Survival Course. TIMA members help maintain dental health of disabled children in苗栗, Taiwan. A seriously ill Tsuji care recipient in Taiwan donates to help other less fortunate people. In Malaysia, the Kuala Lumpur and Selangor TIMA chapter held its 3rd hospital survival course at the Kuala Lumpur Jingsi Hall earlier in April. Over 300 medical and nursing students from all backgrounds came to participate. Through games and short skits, participants learned about the importance of practicing humanism in healthcare.
On this day, 374 medical and nursing students from all over Selangor and Kuala Lumpur arrive at the Kuala Lumpur Jingsi Hall to attend a Practicing Humanism and Professionalism in Healthcare seminar. Over 90% of those in attendance are non-Chinese. Even students from Kelantan, which is over 400 kilometers away, came to participate in this event.
I have lost my direction in life and wonder why I have to work so hard in my studies. What is it all for? I hope to find my way once more and see why I should continue this course.
I have enough for you. Every time I ask you, but you never explain things to me.
A scenario on the importance of communication between doctor and patient is played out for the audience.
Don't do like what I did and run away. I interrupted her and I was not listening. Besides that, apologize.
The feeling of helplessness while walking with a blindfold helps participants realize that empathy for patients is an important aspect of patient care.
I need to understand my feelings of my patient, and I need to give a good treatment by understanding their feelings as well, not just being sympathized. Empathy is also very important.
Originally from Bosnia, Zernina Bahik has seen the casualties of war since young. The medical assistance she received from a Malaysian charity organization back then has left a deep impression on her.
There are many of us who also came here because of the money and everything, but I think the main concern and main aim should not be that one. Should be sincerely and purity in the intention to help others.
Instilling the correct ideals of humanitarianism at an early age is important, so future doctors and nurses-to-be can fulfill their destiny and save lives.
Before the 3rd hospital survival course took place in Malaysia, TIMA members visited various schools in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor area to attract students to attend the course.
Images of flood relief distribution by Tsuji volunteers and medical volunteers moved the medical students in the auditorium.
For us, help is one thing, okay? How to help with respect and charity is a different thing.
Malaysia, Selangor, and Kuala Lumpur's TIMA members are visiting this medical school to attract students to attend the hospital survivor course with the theme of teaching medical students the importance of helping patients with humanity and professionalism.
And the allied worker staff in the hospital later on is very challenging. So we need courses like this to be organized and expose our students, our graduates, so that they can manage well. In fact, I'm trying to book a bus so that they can go in a bus.
I'm learning how to treat patients with love and patience, so treatments are done with more humanitarian efforts.
Not only do medical students need to work hard in school to gain the knowledge to save lives, but emotional and spiritual strength is something they must also possess.
Many of the new generation of medical personnel didn't have to struggle hard to get there. We thought to host a few of these courses to let them know.
By promoting the right medical healthcare methods, TIMA doctors hope the pure spirit of giving is passed on to the next generation of medical professionals.
Also in Malaysia, many refugees are currently residing in Selangor's Klang. However, they cannot legally obtain work or afford proper medical treatment. For this reason, ever since July of 2008, city volunteers have been holding monthly free clinics on their behalf.
Established in 1928, this is the Church of Our Lady of Lourdes. Every Sunday, the faithful will gather for a prayer service. This church is also a place where refugees can come for medical help, as once a month, Tzu Chi volunteers will hold a free medical clinic here.
Because of the unrest in the Middle East, lots of refugees have ended up here over the past 2 years, a lot coming from Pakistan. When I first started 2 years ago, we had maybe 10 or 15 refugees. This month, there were over 55.
Mr. Arfan, who is a Christian, left his home because of violent religious conflict in his native Pakistan. And he brought his family here to Malaysia. Formerly a medical professional, he is able to help as an interpreter for other refugees.
So God gave me this chance for the doctor diagnose easily, doctor treat easily. So they need for the translation. So I offer myself for these people.
With a similar wish to help people is another Pakistani immigrant, Mohuddin. At every month's clinic, he will arrive early to help prepare the site and then help with the interpreting throughout the day.
3-4 days? From 3 and 4 days. Okay. Outside private clinic, very expensive treatment. We come here, our problem discussed to doctors and take free medicine. We are very, very happy.
Although Malaysia is just a stopover for many refugees, and volunteers may not see these families more than once, Tzu Chi still wants to offer them some love and care during this short period that they are here in Malaysia.
In Sekarang City in West Java province of Indonesia, seniors often have ailments that start minor but turn into serious, debilitating health problems due to poverty. Tzu Chi volunteers recently held a clinic for these seniors, serving a total of 308 patients.
Lying on the bed is Adi, who suffers from paralysis. After suffering a stroke 5 years ago, he first lost feeling in both of his hands and subsequently the use of his legs.
Pernah ke dokter sih katanya sih stroke. Udah ke rumah sakit daerah, udah
Before, we used to go to the hospital for checkups, and other people would give him massages, but there hasn't been any improvement.
Terus tangan terus kaki nyeret ya. Tapi kelama-lama terus kayak gini, nggak bisa bangun.
For the past 8 years, Chima has not been able to lift her arm. Even after seeing a doctor, she still doesn't know the reason. As her condition deteriorated, she has given up hope of treatment.
Harus di-scan. Sedangkan scan.
We've been to see doctors. They say it's not because of a stroke. Getting a CT scan costs a lot of money, and we just can't manage it.
In Sekarang, there are quite a few seniors suffering from chronic illness who are in need of treatment. Before today's clinic, Tzu Chi volunteers made a call for assistance to help, and they received an enthusiastic response from 61 local university students.
The idea of helping people is the same across religions. It doesn't matter your ethnicity or your nationality. When you find someone in need, you should do what you can to help.
We prepare some equipment just in case one of the patients has an emergency. We've prepared oxygen supply as well as an ambulance that is ready to be dispatched if necessary.
For people in remote regions, proper medical care is limited, and for poor families, a small problem can turn into a serious ailment. Tzu Chi hopes that by offering free clinics in such regions, that they can provide much-needed care and selfless love to remote communities like this one.
Staff of Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital recently traveled to Miaoli to hold a health screening for the residents of Sanyi Township. Meanwhile, members of TIMA's Central Taiwan chapter were also in Miaoli, helping clean the teeth of residents of the Mingde Disability Care Home.
2 vans have arrived carrying dental cleaning instruments. Members of TIMA's Central Taiwan chapter have come to Mingde Disability Care Home in Miaoli for the first time. Dr. Huang Shuxian cleans the teeth of the disabled residents here because dental health is important to them.
We enable them to eat as eating is one's happiest time. If their teeth are healthy, they will be healthy physically and mentally.
However, the residents get nervous hearing the sound of dental cleaning instruments. Therefore, the volunteers hold their hands to ease their minds.
We comfort those who are afraid and tell them not to fear. After cleaning, they will have healthy teeth to eat food with.
Meanwhile, staff of the Taichung Tsuji Hospital have arrived at a first aid station in Sanyi of Miaoli to hold a health screening. The residents then fill out forms with the help of volunteers before undergoing the checkup.
We talk about healthy eating, exercise, and maintaining a good mood. It's like purifying people's hearts that the master mentioned.
People must care for themselves before they can contribute to society. Therefore, these medical staff are committed to their mission of safeguarding people's health.
In a related story, members of TIMA Central Taiwan chapter have recently also worked together with TIMA members in Miaoli to make house calls in Nanzhuang Township. Despite the difficulties in getting there, they remain firm in their steps to help the residents live healthier lives.
Arriving in Nanzhuang Township, TIMA members and city volunteers have come to make house calls. The doctor examines Mr. Huang's injured leg and medical record. Then a pharmacist gives some health tips after giving him the medicines. After that, the team heads to the next patient's house. Divided into 4 teams, 57 members of TIMA Central Taiwan chapter, volunteers and Tziqings join TIMA members in Miaoli to make house calls in Nanzhuang.
这下是第1集的，第2集是在这边。
As the doctor checks on the senior, the volunteers ask about his living conditions, warming the hearts of the senior and his family. Pharmacist Liao Jiren, who joined TIMA Free Clinic for the first time, remarks that he hopes to help the patients with empathy.
We also fall ill and go to doctors. We should treat others the way we would like others to treat us. It's that simple.
Caring for the residents in remote regions, TIMA members and volunteers stay firm in their steps to safeguard the health of those in need.
In Taiwan, city volunteers have gone to Kaohsiung Municipal Renwu Special School to share Jingsi aphorisms with the students. As they teach the students the meanings behind these words of wisdom, the volunteers and teachers have also become inspired.
At the school for students with special needs in Kaohsiung, the students play a ball game with Ziji volunteers, practicing their coordination. What is even more important is to purify their minds.
We teach children not to accumulate negative words and thoughts. They need to cleanse their hearts.
Then the volunteers also share Jingsi aphorisms with the students through video clips. As the students eagerly take turns to answer questions, volunteers and teachers have also benefited from this activity.
As we hold activities for students with special needs, we seldom consider that they also have thoughts and feelings. Through today's activity, I've learned that in facing these children, we also need to help them grow spiritually.
When my husband was going through volunteer training, he joined activities involving students with special needs. Then his attitude changed, and now he has great interaction with our children.
As the volunteers and teachers teach the students with special needs, they have also been inspired by these students. One of the benefits from this class is that volunteers and students have created a cycle of love.
TIMA members in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, set up a class for seniors to help prevent the onset of dementia. They recently held an outdoor activity where over a dozen seniors with the illness came to participate in learning how to play the taiko drums.
Holding on to their drumsticks while warming up, this group of seniors who suffer from dementia are learning how to play the taiko drums at a recycling center. The seniors are learning just like children, yet despite not being on the beat, the drumming sound has already enticed the seniors to continue practicing.
Their eyes convey a desire to learn. In terms of seniors, this is something that moves me.
While Tzu Chi volunteers drum along with seniors, a son holds his father's hand to help him. Doing this activity together has helped strengthen his relationship.
I'm happy to be here to participate in this activity, where both of us can interact and do something together.
During this activity, the seniors will think of how best to make the motion smoother, so at least the brain cells will be stimulated during the drumming.
Through taiko drumming, family bonds are strengthened and seniors gain a sense of accomplishment. But most importantly, this type of activity with preventative health care can help delay the onset of dementia.
Also in Taiwan, as part of Tzu Chi's plans to care for seniors in the community, volunteers have arrived at the Guangfu Senior Activity Center to spend some time with the residents. Volunteers plan an assortment of games which are designed to help the seniors with their agility.
Ling Ahao is already 78, but she's still very robust for her age. Each morning, she heads to the Tzu Chi recycling station to help, and then hurries over to join the senior activities for the day. Today, she shares her tip of longevity.
I've been a vegetarian for years, and I go to bed early and get up early. Sometimes I have even gone to bed at 7:30 or 8 at night.
A volunteer who helps to care for these seniors has also invited her father along. She's filled with joy at seeing her father enjoying the activities.
When he gets in, he's quite happy and willing to come join the activities. I feel he's gotten more agile now. I hope I can take this program back with us to raise Sui and promote it there.
In charge of activities, Tzu Chi volunteer Lin Jingquan doesn't only make sure the seniors enjoy their time here, but also makes sure they do the movements correctly and safely.
We hope to restore their ability to do things on their own. Look at how many we have here. They are living life happily. If they are willing to try, then as time goes on, they'll eventually be able to recover their basic quality of life.
Tzu Chi volunteers long-term assistance to care for seniors in the community not only helps to raise their quality of life and health, but also helps them find their path of happiness and energy.
Tzu Chi Care recipient Mr. Wen Fan Danshui of New Taipei City had trouble breathing and even speaking. After undergoing surgery, he now breathes through a tube in his throat and lives on assistance from Tzu Chi and the government. However, he still donates his unused funds to Tzu Chi in hopes that he can also help others.
Volunteers and Mr. Wen act just like old friends when they meet. 2 years ago, after a surgical procedure, Mr. Wen lost his ability to speak and now communicates using a small whiteboard.
Tzu Chi brothers and sisters would take him to the recycling center, but he couldn't do much because he would have to clean his throat every 10 minutes. If he didn't, then after some time, it would start to bleed.
Mr. Wen's movements are steady as he looks in the mirror and cleans his throat with practiced ease. Fearful of injuring his throat, he very rarely leaves his house, except to buy groceries.
Maybe it was because he really enjoys strong flavors and heavy foods, and after a long time he just had to go to the hospital and they had to operate.
In order to avoid possibly blocking his breathing tube, Mr. Wen has learned to sleep sitting upright.
He can barely sleep for half an hour before he has to clean it again, otherwise he just can't breathe.
Since he is unable to work outside, Mr. Wen must depend on the financial assistance from Tzu Chi and the government. However, every month after expenses, he gives what he has not spent back to Tzu Chi to help others.
He's really got a big heart. When we first asked about donating, he said he would like to help because I told him that among people receiving financial assistance, a lot of them had similar experiences to him. So now he's really eager to do what he can to help out others. He's really very courageous and has a strong will. It's really not easy for him. When we see him, he really reminds us all how to be better people.
In spite of his own life trials, Mr. Wen's heart is still full of love and optimism. He says that happiness and sadness are both parts of life, and we should just try to smile at every day that passes.
Xiao Peilan, a Tzu Chi Care recipient in Guangdong, China, suffers from mobility problems due to a stroke. Tzu Chi volunteers found out that she had difficulties using the squat toilet at home and decided to help her solve this problem.
Xiao Peilan, who suffers from mobility problem due to a stroke, is a Tzu Chi Care recipient. On this day, she's getting a special gift. This gift carries the thoughts of plumbing and electrical artisans and Tzu Chi volunteers. Xiao had a hard time using the traditional squat toilet in her bathroom. Now, after the installation of flush toilet and 2 grab bars, she can use the toilet more easily.
Seeing the inconvenience a senior endured, we should help the elderly and inform them with love.
The plumbing and electrical artisans are really kind. Knowing that we're helping someone, they decided not to charge service fees. They also helped us buy the product made with the best material and lowest cost. When people in society learn that we're doing things like this, many are willing to lend a helping hand.
For the artisans, volunteers in Xiao, giving and receiving a toilet as a gift is a first-time experience. They will all cherish this heartwarming experience.
Mrs. Wang, who lives in Jiayi, has collected recyclables for Tzu Chi for more than 20 years. Recently, her poor health has made her unable to clean her house. Wanting to give her a comfortable place to rest and recuperate, Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to clean her home.
This old house is littered with debris from the living room to the kitchen, with cartons, cans, and bottles taking up all the space. Mrs. Wang lives here, and every 2 days she goes to the hospital for dialysis. Her poor health means she can't clean anymore.
Fortunately, one of our sisters came back to check on her and saw that her house was filled with a lot of things. If we didn't help her clean, we couldn't stop worrying about her.
Years ago, Mrs. Wang joined a monastic order in the mountains, though she would later return to lay life. After learning about Tzu Chi's recycling work, as long as she had time, she would go into the community to collect these items.
Her only interest is picking up recycling items every day. Later, she would give these recyclables to Tzu Chi brothers. For over 20 years, she did it without any rest.
Taking turns carrying out the debris, Tzu Chi volunteers remove the contents of this house one by one. After a great deal of effort, a walkway was finally cleared. After cleaning this interior of this house, Tzu Chi volunteers brought a new bed, sheets, and a quilt, allowing Mrs. Wang to sleep more comfortably. Mrs. Wang also conveyed the concern about her broken windows that cannot shield her from the elements. Tzu Chi volunteers first found a large tarp to cover up the gaps and promised to return to make more repairs later.
In Tainan, Tzu Chi volunteer Fang月英has been promoting vegetarianism by cooking and providing vegetarian food for residents in the community for the past 2 years. With her efforts, some factory employees have even asked her to provide vegetarian lunchboxes on a regular basis. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.